So let's talk about authenticity, right? Because I mean, why is it so important? Why? Why is it important for content creators in general? Not people that only do influencing, but content creators in general too, when they have a following, to actually have some sort of authenticity, right? Why would you say it's important?
It's difficult for me to talk about authenticity and not talk about personality.
Here we go.
Because I strongly believe that your authenticity is pegged to your personality. You know what I mean? Sadly, society has a role to play in that. Because, we have all these pictures of perfection and people telling us, this is who you have to do, or this is what you have to do, or this is who you need to be popular and make it and be successful. Sadly, we've had so many pictures of success that have really, really informed our idea on having a personality. The other thing is that you could really admire somebody, you could really look up to someone, like this person is the person that you want to be in 5 years, and so you think the only way that you could do that is by impersonating this person and kind of just practicing how they talk, or doing certain things specifically to how they do it. There's really no problem in admiring someone and looking up to someone, but please, for heaven's sake, keep your personality and keep your authenticity as a person. If you speak in a certain way, if you have a specific accent, there's no problem in improving that, but don't change it because you feel like the only way you're going to be acceptable to society is through that. Even in our friendships, and I keep on going back to, sorry.
So there are a lot of influence. Anyway, let me not even go there. Anyway, but we have to be real, So I read somewhere, I don't know what the guy was saying. He said, just make sure that you don't become famous, and accepted by society while you're being someone else, and then now you live in prison, because you have to be that person every day, right? Yeah. So but I mean, it's when you started talking about accent and all that, I just said, it's a live wire, as you usually say. But anyway, just go ahead.
And Chris, I don't want to be misquoted. I have two different accents when I'm talking to my friends and when I'm working. My friends, my family can attest to that. The way I speak now, it's very different when I'm adding Kiswahili words ukondani,
So this is your corporate voice, or your corporate?
This is my corporate voice. This is my money-making voice. And let's just be honest. Let's just be damn honest.
Yeah, very good.
Okay. I can't chat with a client the same way I chat with my friends at home. I have to have some poise, some structure to my sentences.
No, I agree. All the image consultants that are going to watch this will probably say, okay, yeah.
And I'm saying this because I want people to understand that we're trying to be as authentic and as honest as possible. We're not trying to push anyone down and also, the topic of accents is very, that's very wide. You could have even your mother tongue as an influence, and there's no problem actually in trying to work on how you speak. There's absolutely no problem. What we're trying to say is that what is unique to you, your personality, the personality that your family and friends love to be around, the fact that maybe you're silent, or maybe you don't shout too much. I shout. I'm a very loud person. So for me, it's kind of like, allow me to be like that constantly through and through. And you'll see that also in my videos when we're doing the Influencer Whisperer series. I'm very loud, I'm very bubbly, and because that is my personality, that is my truest personality. And sometimes, and I've also I've doubted myself because I was just like, I'm scared this might be too much for people to consume. Maybe I should have toned down my voice a bit. Maybe I should have used this direction instead of this direction. But I really had to give myself a pep talk, because I was just like, no, that is my personality. That is really who I am. And if people don't embrace that, then that's a them problem and not a me problem, And we're not saying that you having your personality, that you start now disrespecting people and you start hurting people's feelings, and that's not what we're talking about. Just be yourself. But again, Chris, I want to say this. there's nothing new under the sun.
What do you mean?
There's nothing new under the sun.
Where are you
When we're
going?
talking about personality and authenticity, it's talking about also the content that we see. And, TikTok has really birthed a lot of concepts that were not there before. And because, TikTok is TikTok, and basically, the fun of TikTok is recreating something that was already done. So we see a lot of that happening, but try and put your own flavor into it. Try and put your own flavor. Yeah. Try and do your own flavor. It doesn't mean that I saw someone else talking about jewelry, I shouldn't talk about jewelry because I'm too scared of being like her. No, talk about jewelry. Just do it your own way.
Vanessa, please allow me to say this, and thank you for mentioning this.
Thanks.
Add your own flavor. And I know, and as you said, Vanessa, we're not trying to put anyone down, but the whole idea basically is to just be as authentic as possible. A lot of content creators do not innovate. They actually spend their time copying, so they borrow a concept and execute it fully, as is, and they get a little bit lost in it, and we've seen that over and over and over, right? So while what's really funny is that, and Vanessa, I think you're the one that mentioned that millennials and Gen Z, really value authenticity, over even consistency, right? So it's really people like you if you don't have. And I remember I watched a video about I don't know, it's some guy in the UK that plays video games, very, very famous, KSI, I think that's his name, something like that. And there's one thing he said,
a lot of people think to be at the top, you have to be the best at a certain game or this. No, you don't. Like, it's more about personality.
I heard that and I told myself, wow, okay, I got something. So I totally agree with what it is that you're saying, Vanessa, when you're saying people need to add their own flavor.
Be yourself.
That is part of authenticity. Be you.
Be yourself, and don't be scared of what other people have to say, because they're dealing probably with their own issues and they're reflecting their own insecurities on you. To what you said, Chris, about people are recreating content fully as is. I also want to be cognizant of the fact that nobody was born knowing how to dance to a TikTok video. So of course, the first 5 times I will do it exactly the way this person has done it, because I'm trying to learn, So finding your groove and finding your style will take some time. And, with that time, in you learning and doing all of that, you're going to mimic a lot of people, and that is okay. Just make sure that it doesn't now become your entire life. You know what I mean?
In fact, Vanessa, sorry to catch you, but again, as you said, I don't want to be misquoted. In fact, when it comes to TikTok videos, it's even expected, for you to do, to actually execute the challenge in a certain way. But the challenge that I have personally is, let me take travel influencers, for example, right? So there are many travel influencers in the world. And you go from, you watch some channels all over the place, and then you come to a local channel and you realize that they're executing it the same way, And if you happen to be very familiar with a lot of travel influencers, you start seeing that even the way they take pictures, so it's just really the same thing, right? So for me, it's really that, so try to come up with things that are a little bit more you, coming from you, because that's what your audience fell in love with in the first place, so that's all I was saying basically.
Can I also say something? And this is me being very, risque.
I love when you get that way. I love it.
I believe that this is at some point also the fault of the brands and of clients. And I say that because this is such, I want you to understand word by word to what I'm gonna say. Yeah, Chris? Because the influencer marketing space is so new, everyone is literally trying to find their way around it. Yeah. And because there's no playbook or there's no blueprint for influencer marketing, everyone is just like, oh, they went this direction, then I think this direction might also work for us. You know what I mean?
I
So
see what
it is because also everyone is just trying to figure out that every client is also working with the same people. So
Wow.
do not blame micro influencers when they see this type of content is what gets brand deals. Sorry. Yeah. So I want to create that same content so that even me, I can get brand deals. I cannot blame micro influencers one bit. And I can proudly say that, you know, one of my major key drives in, you know, creating influencer strategies is always making sure that we give opportunity to new talent, to show them that you don't have to conform to what everyone else is doing. Your style is good enough. Look at I want to use an example of a really lovely lady, cartoon comedian. She's doing comedy like everybody else. Comedy is not new. Skits, you know, it started, and I think even comedy was the birth of influencer marketing, right? If you remember.
Well, it depends.
Yes.
But yes, let's get into that. Yeah.
And not influencer marketing, but corporates investing into influencer marketing. They actually started investing in comical content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you see cartoon comedian, she's doing comedy and she's doing comical skits, but she's doing it her own way. Like she is doing it her own way, and she's bringing out her personality. And guys were like, wow, this is fantastic. This is such a breath of fresh air. And I got an opportunity to meet her during the award show. And she is just so great to be around. You know, she has such great conversation. And she's herself through and through. I cannot remember one sentence and I didn't burst out laughing. She's absolutely fantastic. And because she's true and honest to who she is. So I also want to say that brands have a part to play in revolutionizing what mainstream content is about. And authenticity, that give room to new talent, give room to new influencers, give room to new personalities. Yeah. And by doing that, you're endorsing that, you know, it's just not one way. There's a diversity of ways that we can approach influencer marketing. And that's the point I wanted to make.
Good point, Vanessa. Brands, we hope you're listening, because, you know, I don't know how many times, you know, you go to a client or to a brand and then, you know, they tell you, no, I want you to do things like this influencer. You're like, but this is them, right? This is them. Yeah. It worked. You know, it doesn't have to necessarily. And then besides, your brand has a personality, right? There's something in branding called archetypes, right? So your brand can usually only behave this way. You know, why would you? Of course, the brand can stretch as well from time to time, but you don't have to necessarily copy, you know, simply because it's working, you know, for another brand, you know. So it's little things like that, right? But anyway, Vanessa, I think this topic is clearly one that could take, you know, hours and hours. But the thing that I wanted to mention here is brands are actually in control of the influencer marketing industry.